Welcome to the Batcast.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
I'll get drive-through. This is why Superman works alone.
Murder me! Martha, why did you say that name? Vengeance. I am the knight. I am Batman!
Hey guys, it's Jake here. It's official. We're bringing back the Batcast, and in honor of that, I'm going to go back and put all of the old episodes up and just remastering them, doing my best to clean up the audio because we did not really know how to do anything with audio back then, me especially. So this is actually before Batcast, believe it or not. This is the precursor to it. This is when I was doing the first incarnation of the Jake Williams Show. So I had Luke on to talk everything about Batman, and little did we know that we would eventually turn this into a full-fledged show. So sit back and relax. Again, bear with me in the audio. I did the best I could in cleaning it up. Anyway, enjoy the show. I can't wait to give you guys new episodes of the Batcast. Take it away, past Jake.
Today, I have Luke Moyer in studio with me again.
Hey.
And by studio, I mean his apartment. Luke's with me again. Last time we talked about the Beatles. Today, we're talking about the Batman. We're not just talking about one little segment. We're talking about everything about Batman. We're covering everything from who we think the best actor to portray Batman, the best Batman movie, the best animated series, the animated series of the 90s. I meant to say animated movie. Villains most deserving, best Joker. The list goes on. A lot to talk about, a lot to get out of the way. So, the first thing that we need to get out of the way, in your opinion, Luke, who is the best actor to portray Batman?
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton over Christian Bale.
Well, a lot of people give Christian Bale all that shit for the... I just got done running a marathon. I'm super fucking tired. I need to catch my breath. Whereas, I mean, everybody else, you could totally understand.
So that's your reason for Michael. Why Michael Keaton though?
I don't know, because he's the closest to my actual size. Therefore, there's hope that I could be Batman as well.
Well, my opinion, you don't agree with it, but not in terms of you don't think that he's not a good Batman, because when you think of Batman, you think of Kevin Conroy. So I would say Kevin Conroy, but you say he's out of this realm.
I say
because he's
that
a
he
cartoon.
will never be considered the greatest Batman, even though he technically is. But he won't be, because when you think of Batman, I mean, you know who it is, but you don't actually put the face to the cartoon.
Yeah.
Unless you're a super diehard fanboy, like.
And we'll talk more about this in length later, but the animated series is like one of the most definitive Batman versions of Batman. I mean, I've learned so much about Batman from that show. And this is watching it now as an adult, many years later, not truly understanding it as a kid, and like, wow, this was adults working on this cartoon for adults, and
There's so much detail in it, and like storylines and everything.
I guess we could just jump into the series. That's kind of a segue into it, but nice.
You're welcome.
That's going on the recording.
That's for the fans.
So anyway, might as well talk about it. The Batman animated series. Stinky. It was special. Because like I said, it was special because it was made for kids, but as you get older and you go back and you watch it again, you can respect it as an adult.
The animated series was a series of firsts in the Batman realm.
I mean, yeah, it reestablished Mr. Freeze. They created a whole new origin for him that went in the comics. You have Harley Quinn and everything else, which I was listening to Fat Man on Batman podcast by Kevin Smith where he's talking with Paul Dini. And Paul Dini, to me, is one of the best Batman writers because he was the one who wrote Heart of Ice. He was the one who wrote... he created Harley Quinn and everything like that. I think he's one of the best, and he was the head writer on the Arkham games. I just think he was probably the best Batman writer, and it really showed because when you watch episodes like Heart of Ice, that gets talked about a lot for good reason. But when you watch that, it's a depressing and sad episode. It's just sad. I mean, and the worst part is you level with the guy. You're like, he's just trying to save his wife. It's so disappointing that he can't save his wife. And you kind of think of Batman's kind of a dick too, because he broke his helmet.
Well, if you're a guy that's going around killing, freezing the shit out of everything, I think the first thing to do would be stop him. I don't care what your reasoning is.
Mm-hmm. But
I mean, yeah, they try to make you sympathize with it.
Yeah, and even in the episode, Batman's like, I get where he's coming from, but you're going about it the wrong way, and I gotta stop you.
But like all of the villain origin stories, like you can kind of go back and like retrace it, and then kind of compare it to Batman's origin story, where they're all depressed, they're down in the dumps, shit happens, but Bruce Wayne was like one of the only people in the DC Gotham universe that was like, hey, I'm going to do some good out of it. And everybody else is like, hey, oh, woe is me, fuck this.
People have to feel my pain.
No.
But, I mean, this show to me really showed why Batman is such a great character, because I've always said, whenever I talk about Batman, and I get into a fight with Adam, who's on another podcast, when I ever get into an argument with him about Superman and Batman, or Spider-Man and Batman, I always say, look, Spider-Man's a great character and he has some really good villains, but to me, every villain in the Batman mythos matters, and every villain is relatable, and a hero is only as good as his villains, and Batman has the best villains.
And the Joker may be better than Batman.
I mean, and that's one of those cases where the villain's more popular. And this show really showed it because Mark Hamill is, to a lot of people, the definitive Joker. Because
he established what he should sound like and how
say
creepy
what you want.
shit he is.
Say what you want about Heath Ledger, and we'll talk about him too. But there's before people can say like, well, Jack Nicholson was better than this, and then Mark Hamill.
Each person that played him showed him in a different way. And it wasn't all the same.
Batman is a Joker are one and the same in the sense that you can tell different origin stories of Batman. You can have different portrayals of Batman, different styles of Batman, and still be their own thing. And I hate comparing. I mean, we do have a topic of who we think the best Joker is, but it's not comparing them in a way that, well, Jack Nicholson's better than Heath Ledger, and Heath Ledger's better than Mark Hamill, and all this other stuff. It's more of which Joker kind of hit us more, kind of thing. So I want to keep it rolling with.
I kind of liked the 1960s Joker.
Carlos something. I can't remember his name.
I don't remember.
I have to Google search that. But anyway.
We'll have to watch that one later.
Rolling on. Keep rolling with Batman the Animated Series. It's going to get segued a lot because we're very passionate about Batman. So it's going to jump around a lot. Rolling again with the Animated Series. Again, we talked about Heart of Ice and how sad and depressing that was. Another thing that I think they did really well that you kind of see happen in The Dark Knight in character development was Harvey Dent. How they developed Harvey Dent to Two-Face was just awesome, and you don't see that in cartoons. I mean, you saw this guy degenerate into this character. I liked the idea of schizophrenia, and
well, I mean, he's basically bipolar, so he's got this side of him saying, "Oh, we should do this," and then the other side is fighting inside of his mind and saying, "No."
He's got Harvey Dent, and then there's Big Bad Harv.
Yeah,
and then I really like those episodes a lot. That two-parter. I really like that. And I like that it got 2 parts, because then you fully see, because like at the end of it you see, oh, the accident happens with the acid, and then you see his face, and then that whole other part of the episode you see where he's just like, where Harvey Dent goes with it, and he fully accepts the fact that, hey, this is what people wanted, I've always been 2 sides of the coin, here I am. And I love how every decision he makes in the show, he has to do a coin. And one of my favorite things of the show was when he's flipping a coin to decide to kill a guy or not, and Batman's just like, okay, and he just throws a bunch of quarters. So he's like, oh no, where are they?
See, that's what they did in the one with Val Kilmer, Batman Forever.
He threw
a shit ton of coins up at him, and then he falls off and like plunges into his death. Or was it his death?
Ooh. So yeah, Big Bad Harvey's my good one. And I like the fact that Harvey showed up in other episodes before he became Two-Face, because you see that friendship build with Bruce. And then Bruce has a moment, which kills me every time, where he's just like, he's chasing after Two-Face. Two-Face calls him Bruce Wayne, and he says, you failed me, you're supposed to save me, you're my friend, and then Batman's like, I'm sorry, I failed you. And just to add insult to injury in the show, oh, there's his parents. You failed, son, you suck.
Yeah, that was terrible. They have the whole thing about him trying to help his dad, impress his dad or whatever. And his dad's just completely being a complete dick, like, oh, you suck, dude. Wow, you're really just.
And I always think it's
disappointing me.
funny because anytime they get to a dream sequence or anything in that show, it was always, oh, failed dad. Alright, so there's Harley Quinn that came in the show, and I don't know, there's a lot to talk about. It's kind of hard to kind of condense things because I want to talk about every topic that we come up with in a lot more time than what we have, so it's kind of hard. Favorite episode from...
What?
Favorite episode from Batman the Animated Series?
Favorite episode from the Batman animated series?
I'll even do this.
I haven't gone back and rewatched all.
I haven't watched. I'm working on season 1 and 2 right now. I haven't worked on season 3.
I do like the one with the Riddler, where he entraps them in the gigantic maze, and they basically have to like go through and solve a shit ton of riddles, and then finally get to the main like puzzle piece to all of it.
Okay, top 3. Okay, so give me 2 more.
Dude, I don't remember all of them because there's so many.
We're gonna come back and have a whole other podcast just about the show once we finish it. But if I had to pick one, and I would, it's kind of actually 2 because it's a 2-parter. But like I said, like I just talked about, to me my favorites were the Two-Face episodes. Those are my favorites, mostly because I would say Heart of Ice, but that's just too popular. Because Mr. Freeze is probably my favorite.
I do remember having the what's it called? I don't remember. Batman Sub-Zero, I think it was.
Batman, Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero, yeah.
The big like animated feature film about it.
I think that was their second one, and then they had the Mask of the Phantasm before that.
I think so.
Yeah.
But that Mr. Freeze movie, that was probably one of my favorites.
That's the real Mr. Freeze. Don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger and Batman and Robin is the real Mr. Freeze, because not even close.
Well, that whole movie is not Batman.
Oh, we will tear apart Batman and Robin later.
Okay, you know that movie is bad when your star actor George Clooney keeps a picture of himself in the Batman costume at his desk and reminds himself, "Don't do movies for money, do them for fun."
Well, I mean, in the interviews, they were just like, George is like, I'm not sure about this. I wasn't sure about the Batman movie, and then like we thought it was just a big toy commercial. That's not at all how you want to portray a movie, especially with a character like Batman. But anyway, so moving on from the Batman animated series, I'm gonna keep things rolling. So it doesn't have to be just live action of any Batman movie that's been out there. In your opinion, what is the best Batman movie? It's tough because I've been trying to think about this too.
Batman Forever holds a special place in my heart. It was my favorite movie when it came out as a child. I was like 4 years old. Jake beat me up all the time because I had a sweet ass sleeping blanket.
I was the Riddler for Halloween
Sleeping
one
bag.
time. That's how important that movie was to me. But
Speaking of Riddler, I don't know if I really liked Jim Carrey's portrayal as the Riddler. I didn't
loved
like
it.
I didn't like the quirky, fucking creepy ass, like super high end way of doing it. I like the more calm, relaxed. I'm gonna give you a riddle, try and solve it. Not like a whoo.
Well, Batman Forever, it felt like they were just trying to make Two-Face and Riddler too much like the Joker. Because
Yeah.
Two-Face, that is not at all how Two-Face acts in that movie.
Two-Face is like, hey, I don't know what to do. Let's ask the coin.
The Dark Knight did Two-Face justice, because Two-Face was pissed, he wants vengeance, and he doesn't care how he does it, and, he's going off the deep end, but... Okay,
Well, I mean, he's basically supposed to be like not so much like a vigilante, because, I mean, he's still a dick, and he's killing people and shit, but, like, he's out for revenge, and he's trying to basically show everybody how fucking shitty he feels.
So there you go. That's Bruce's favorite movie is The Dark Knight. That one gets all the praise, but I don't know if that movie would have been as great if it wasn't for Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Because everybody talks about his performance, and everybody pulls from that performance, and like, this is why he won an Oscar. But he did win an Oscar, and people say, well, because he died. No, because he actually deserved it. But
I think that he deserved it. He was like one of the greats of method acting and like putting yourself into that situation, becoming that character, and he deserved all the praise that he got. But I think that part of it, not so much like enough to make really a big factor, but the part of him being such a big deal and such a great person of that he is now is because he died. And I'm not saying that like as a dick thing because he's dead.
okay, so stop dodging the question. Favorite Batman movie? Best Batman movie of any Batman movie you've seen.
I don't know.
It's so tough because I was thinking when I was writing this down, I was like, I don't know if I have one because I like them all. I'd probably put Nolan's movies ahead of Burton's movies, but then I was like, wait a minute, no, because I really liked the first Batman.
Well, it's because
I don't know.
Tim Burton had the style of Batman right, like the dark.
The gothic style I
Yeah.
like. And that again translated to the TV show, like the cartoon, because the score in the cartoon is fantastic, and it gets that gothic style. But gun to your head, you had to choose. What would it be?
Probably have to be Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, good choice. My only issue with Batman Returns, I love the casting of Danny DeVito, and I thought Danny DeVito did a good job. It's
But
just
his
the flipper.
His origin
The
story
flipper
is what
got me
gets
because
yeah.
he's a crime lord. He's an arms dealer. That's what he does.
He just so happens to look like a penguin. He's
just short
he's
and
not
fat.
an actual deformed.
If they were to redo Penguin, just recast Danny DeVito because he just has the body to play Penguin. But if I had to pick, I might get a lot of flack for this, but my favorite Batman movie will probably be The Dark Knight Rises. And I'll tell you why. Because when you were with me in the midnight showing when we went to go see it, I dressed up as Batman for that. It was just funny. I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and that movie, from the jump, pulled me in. And when he's fighting Bane, and when Bane is beating the shit out of him, I felt bad. I was just like, no, Batman. And it's not only because I'm connected to Batman because he's my favorite superhero, and I identify him with so much so I'd do a whole podcast about him, but it was because I cared. I was just like, oh my gosh, he's gonna kill him. I was just, I knew it wasn't, but in my head, he's like, he's gonna. And then when he puts him up and breaks his back.
See, that's another good thing about that movie is because it takes you to a point where you know what's gonna happen, and it doesn't happen. Like, they set it up so perfectly for you to be like, oh, this is gonna happen. That's who she is. That's who that person is. Nope. No, it's not. And then you're like, oh.
And
because it gives you hope.
and it's brutal.
It gives you hope, And at the same time, it disappoints you because you know that hope is not real and
But-
that it's not going to happen.
That's where I draw the most from is the first fight with Bane and how brutal it was to me, and then seeing the recovery, and then I was so happy when he got out of there. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, it's happening. He's gonna go beat the shit out of Bane. And then that fight, and we talk about it a lot because we all had the same fanboy moment. You, Tommy, and I, we all sat there and we were like, we saw him look at each other through the crowd, and we're like, oh, it's going down! And like, I freaked out. And when he kicks him through the door, I was like, yes, yes! I was so happy. So that would be probably why The Dark Knight Rises is my favorite. Batman Returns is a good choice because Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
God.
Total slut, but hot. Just hot in that
She
costume.
finally got that cool rider. Grease tube
I
punch.
also love Christopher Walken in it.
Yes.
Max Schreck.
Except he can't fucking
He was
talk.
his character was supposed to be in the cartoon.
He can't say more than three
or four words.
4 words.
Yo,
You ever go 15 rounds, Muhammad Shrek?
this power plant is my legacy. Also, there's a scene I don't agree with in that movie where Batman drops a bomb on a guy. Batman doesn't kill people.
That's true.
Way to go, Tim Burton.
I just tickled his insides. Splattered him across the wall. He's okay.
That's another thing. Penguin's crew didn't make sense. They're like a circus crew. Why weren't they like...
Well,
They don't have like a penguin on their
I
back or something.
understood later why he's got a circus cruise because when he was a teenager,
He's a freak.
yeah, when he was a teenager, he went and joined the circus,
Yeah.
and then when they found out that he was like killing people or some shit, like killing babies or whatever. I don't really understand that part, but they he like left before he was interrogated. Like all of the other freaks were interrogated, but then when it was his turn, he like disappeared. So yeah, that's why.
So Batman Returns or the original Batman? Also, I love the marketing
Cool.
campaign behind the Batman. It's just the logo, no words, just the logo.
I like Batman Returns because it's like I always like the Christmassy, like the snow on the ground, like the coldness,
Which
like the dark.
there's always a story about Batman and snow. Always.
Because that's why I like The Dark Knight Rises too, because
There's
it's
snow.
like snow and like
See what I mean? They're like,
yeah.
There's
It
Batman
just-
Returns.
It just adds a whole new like effect because like you can see their breath when they're like breathing heavy. It's like
I don't know.
and it's just I don't know. Snow gets me.
Well, I mean, there's Batman Returns. There's The Dark Knight Rises. There's Sub-Zero. There's Cold Heart in the Arkham Origins DLC. Then there's Arkham Origins. That's Christmas Eve. There's a Christmas element at some point in there. So that was what we think there. Best Batman movie. If you're listening or you probably disagree, that's okay. That's
All
what
right.
this is for.
Who's your favorite villain?
Other than the Joker, let's just rule the Joker out of this credit.
Yeah.
I would probably have to say it's a toss-up. It's kind of a tie between Mr. Freeze and Two-Face. Because recently I have grown to really fall in love with Mr. Freeze. Because I, watched Heart of Ice and the Cold Heart thing. Which is pretty much Heart of Ice, but video game form, and they changed some things. But then there's Two-Face, when I was talking about in the cartoon and in the movie, in The Dark Knight, when you just see a guy completely go... You see what Batman would be like if he was corrupted. I don't know, it's a close one. It's kind of a tie between Mr. Freeze and Two-Face. So, I gotta flip a coin, but you got it. I don't know, man. That's tough. It's between those two. It's a tie. I can't pick heads or tails of the other one. What about you?
Mine is the Riddler because of his mental defect, if you will, of not being able to hide everything. He's got to basically come right out and tell you everything, but it's in a complex riddle. And like I like the
best way to hide something is to show it.
yeah,
plain
like
sight.
the best way to hide it is right there in front of your fucking face. And
Yeah.
then the way that they did the Arkham games with the Riddler and how he's basically like doing all these death traps and stuff.
Which I like that too, in how they portrayed him in the games, because there's 400 challenges in Arkham City.
that I finished, by the way.
You got all 400?
Oh yeah.
How long did that take?
When I got it 2 years ago for Christmas, I camped out in my room for the whole rest of the Christmas break. So like a week or two.
I'm going back because I just finished the story and going back and doing side missions and trying to figure it out, and that's too much. So you like the Riddler because
He's not.
he's a thinking villain.
Yeah, he's a thinking villain. He's not so much
He's
like
not physically
gonna beat
imposing.
you up, but he's gonna fuck your mind to where you're like, holy shit.
Because when I think of the Riddler, I think of a skinny guy with
Yeah.
a green suit and green bowler cap, and he's just trying to outsmart the world's greatest detective. And he has fun with the idea, like, oh, you're the world's greatest detective. Well, figure this riddle, figure that riddle, and then do all these other things with it.
I feel like he was the kid on the playground that always got beat up because he was doing crossword puzzles while sitting on the swing.
Did you know that Two-Face was beat as a child? Harvey Dent was beat as a child, and something involving a coin and his indecision went back to him being beaten.
Well, when the Riddler, I read an origin of him was when he was younger, his dad would always beat him because he would always lie to him, and he always get in trouble at school. So his dad would beat him.
If you want to be a superhero,
And-
your parents have to die, and if you want to be a supervillain, you have to have abusive parents.
Yeah. So his dad would beat him because he'd always tell a lie. So then his psyche made it to where he couldn't tell a lie. So he would just make up a riddle and then hope that they wouldn't figure it out.
So here's another topic.
So he's like Pinocchio, can't
for
you?
villains. We already have an idea in the works to make a fan film about Black Mask because we both fell in love with this character and we felt like it should be portrayed in the right way. That's a whole nother podcast. But anyway, let's just get right to it. What villain do you think is most deserving of a movie, a Batman movie, whether it be live action or animated? Probably, let's just say live action because it gets more of an audience. And here's the catch. It can be a villain already in a Batman movie that you felt didn't get enough justice or wasn't done right, and it could be one that, obviously, that hasn't been in one.
The Mad Hatter.
You'd like to see a Mad Hatter Batman
Yeah,
movie.
because of the Arkham City side mission.
That was creepy.
That totally mind-fucked me. Tripping
Because I was like,
balls.
well,
I'm
like in the game, you're like, oh, there's a cure, what the hell? And I go over there and I get it, and I'm like, shit, it's the Mad Hatter. And I did it again the second time playing it. Trying knowing everything, I still was
yeah,
like,
because his character is so creepy and just so creepy as shit that I think he deserves to his own movie. And like, I would even like to see that they bring Johnny Depp back as the Mad Hatter and do it with him from the Alice in Wonderland movie.
Make it a Tim Burton movie. Bring him back to the character. Damn it, I was gonna say something. I lost my train of thought when you were talking. Oh, it's your fault. No, Mad Hatter. Johnny Depp. Before that. That's it. Okay. You know what character I'd like to see just because of the game interests me in him? I'd like to see him as a secondary villain, not like the main villain, but I'd like to see him involved in the plot. Hugo Strange.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because the guy that voice acted Hugo Strange was awesome, and I like Strange's character, and I like the fact that he's so obsessed with Batman that he figured out it was Bruce Wayne, and he's just obsessed with this guy, and I just like his character, and I think it'd be really interesting if you got the right actor to do it. No, another villain to be the main villain, because he would probably be a secondary villain. A main villain, and we want to do the Black Mask movie, so I won't say that, because that's obvious for us. I think Mr. Freeze deserves a better movie. I think you take Heart of Ice, and you adapt that and change that to make it an hour and a half to 2 hours, that would be an awesome Batman movie. And you could even throw in Hugo Strange some way. I don't know how.
Just cast someone else other than
Just
one-liner Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I don't want people to think that Batman and Robin's Mr. Freeze is how Mr. Freeze is. It's not at all who this character is. That's why he's so tragic. That's what the thing is. I'm attracted to Mr. Freeze and Two-Face because they're so tragic.
You gotta get a guy that can show a fuck ton of emotion
without showing
the emotion.
Because like Paul Dini said when he was talking to Kevin Smith, a guy that's cold of emotion is clearly a guy that has a lot of emotions. So, I would love to see a Mr. Freeze movie and a chance to get the character right. And that. So...
I just want to see a Mr. Freeze movie because I like snow.
And then you don't have guys saying, "What killed the dinosaurs? Ice Age." That's not Mr. Freeze.
That movie. I liked the movie. It's good for drinking, but
I can't watch that movie sober.
When Chris O'Donnell keeps his Robin costume locked in a wood crate with chains on it, never to be opened again.
Is that real?
Yeah, he said it in an interview.
I'd keep that shit too. That'd be awesome. I don't care how bad the movie was. Well, I would cut off the bat nips, but...
Oh, yeah, probably.
Speaking of bat nipples,
Just
let's just hop into it. Let's talk about Joel Schumacher's Batmans. Let's start with Batman Forever. And
I don't think they cast very well with Val Kilmer.
You didn't like Val
I
Kilmer's
didn't
Batman?
like Val Kilmer's Batman. I liked the movie. But
It's definitely better than Batman and Robin.
he just wasn't a good cast. I liked Chris O'Donnell's casting. I would have liked to have seen Marlon Wayans though. That would have been pretty cool.
Oh man.
But
you know what? Let's forget it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to beat a dead horse with Joel Schumacher's Batman. So, but if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be Christopher Nolan. So,
well, there's that.
There's that. So.
Still.
So, what's your favorite animated Batman movie? And this, I don't think you've seen all of the animated Batman movies. I don't know. Have you seen Batman Year One? And
Wait.
maybe. You're lost in fantasy, guys. It's a sad day. Because you haven't seen Year One, and we haven't seen Assault on Arkham yet. And
I think
The Dark Knight Returns. I don't think you've seen
either
it.
the movie with Mr. Freeze, Sub-Zero, or
There's Mask of the Phantasm.
or
Under the
Under
Red
Hood. That's probably one of my favorites.
Under the Red Hood was really well done. That was a really good one.
The way that the Joker was in that movie,
John DiMaggio.
so creepy.
John DiMaggio.
Because it wasn't the high-strung, super uppity Mark Hamill, but it's like this raspy, dark, like deep.
And that's the beauty of the character, is you can play him different ways and still get the same effect. I would probably say my favorite would be The Dark Knight Returns. It's 2 parts, push them together. But because if you open up the graphic novel and you watch the movie, it is like page for page of the graphic novel, and I really love the graphic novel. And to me, that's one of the best. Thank you, Frank Miller, because that's one of the best Batman stories ever. And you see it on screen, and it's just, and you have RoboCop voicing Batman, which is super cool about it. And you gotta watch it, because there's the final scene with the Joker and the Tunnel of Love, and there's just this fight, and it's the nastiest, ugliest fight I've seen with Batman and the Joker, where Joker stabs him multiple times in the gut, and you're just like, oh! And it's just such a cool fight and a cool moment, and that's probably my favorite animated movie. There's a lot, and there's a lot more. And that's what I love about DC, is they take their animated movies seriously, and there's some really, really good animated movies.
An area where DC is winning.
That and
Is
TV.
TV and animation. Because I haven't seen it, but I feel like it's really stupid, is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and their new one, the...
Agent...
whatever her name is.
What is her name? The old chick from Captain America. But anyway, this is a Batman podcast. You get that out of here. So favorite animated movie, we've done that. Villain most deserving. Favorite villain. Favorite version of the Batsuit. That's tough.
Batman.
The first Batman.
First Batman. I mean,
It was simple.
yeah, it was simple.
It had a gothic style.
The second Batman Returns, they made it weird. It was like all of his ab.
It was like
It was
blocks.
like squares. Yeah. But the first one was like I thought that was awesome. And then I liked the snowsuit that
The silver.
George Clooney wore.
It has no bulk to it.
I know.
all.
I liked it though, but
Well, Cold Heart, his snowsuit's pretty badass.
I did like Dark Knight Rises when he finally gets to move his neck.
Oh yeah. Well, they did that. It's the same.
Oh yeah. The
Well,
Dark Knight,
they're
and then-
they're essentially saying Dark Knight Rises one has more pieces, I think,
yeah.
than Dark Knight.
But, like in the Dark Knight, he finally gets to move his neck, and then
That's what I love about every Batman movie is he never fully moves his neck. He's always got to like whip his body around and be like, "What?" And he's got to turn his whole body. I really like Batman Begins costume though.
yeah,
That was again another simplistic but he looks so much bigger in Batman Begins compared to the Dark Knight Rises, because like when Christian Bale was saying, I like this suit better in these other two movies because I don't have to add all this mass, all this weight and bulk to fit these big costumes. So they made one more form to his body. So that's pretty cool.
which there's so much respect for Christian Bale in his in between movies.
35 pounds.
He gains.
Well, he's a skeleton
he's about
in
210.
the Machinist.
Yeah, he's about 210. He drops down to like 110.
He's
Gets
sure
all the way back up to 220. Goes all the way down to like 100 for the fight or whatever. Then he goes all the way back up to like another 230.
Yeah.
The man. Geez.
When they asked him what his diet was to get Batman, he goes, I ate a lot of red meat. A lot of red meat. Which is not what we're talking
Which
about. So,
he
the
is
favorite
so
Batman
big.
costume for me, probably would be... I would say Batman.
60s.
I would probably say Batman Begins. Probably my favorite Batman costume.
Adam West's.
Favorite Batmobile?
Oh, well. I would probably go with Michael Keaton's. Yet again.
The simple nature.
Simple black.
Also love how simple the animated series Batmobile is. It's just a long car with a Batwing on it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Tumbler, but
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, it's
not really-
a Batmobile. It's
a
just
tank.
like a big ass tank that's black.
I would say just based on design, I would really do like the Batmobile and Batman Forever.
It's pretty good.
I don't like Batman and Robin's because of that weird third fin that was just weird to me. And this weird engine thing that was, I don't know, it looked weird. But yeah, I would probably say Batman Forever would be my favorite. I would probably kill a lot of people to have a Batmobile in my garage.
Actually, I'd love to have the convertible from
The 60s?
Yeah, the
That's
60s.
actually a pretty badass looking
Dude,
car.
that is so cool.
The paint job is pretty sick on that car. So favorite Batmobile. I think we've covered a lot. Why? Okay, this is a good thing. I remember now. What do you hope they do future-wise with Batman and Ben Affleck?
With Ben Affleck, I really hope that he is the greatest Batman of all time.
He's got the look. He
Like
looks...
he is. They did like the research, and like he is the closest person to the comic book. Like his height is the exact, his weight is the exact. He's got the cleft chin that they drew.
Oh, he has the bat chin.
Oh, he is perfect.
I mean, and people are talking when he works out. Like when he worked out for this movie, he looks friggin' huge, and I love that. And
He overdid it. He like tore his biceps and like had to stop. And then for his movie Gone Girl, they were like, "Hey, whoa, Ben, you gotta
Cut
slow
down."
down.
Yeah,
You're
they
getting
told him
too
to lose
big for
weight.
this." But I really hope he kills it.
He's got the cleft chin and everything.
Dude, he's
Um,
perfect.
My initial gut reaction, like a knee-jerk reaction, was like, oh, why Ben Affleck? Because I automatically in my head went to Daredevil.
But Daredevil wasn't a bad movie.
Daredevil wasn't a like super bad movie, and if you watch the director's cut, if they would have went with the director's cut and went with the R-rated version, it would have been a lot better movie. And it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't his fault. I think it was the writers and all the other people that.
So you want him to be great. Now, what do you necessarily want to see them do with story? Like, we already know Batman vs. Superman's happening. We already know the Batman is happening later on in, like, 2019. And we know Justice League is happening and Justice League 2 is happening. What do you hope they do with Batman in those movies? For me, I don't know. I hope Ben Affleck does a voice that's, like, similar to Kevin Conroy and Michael Keaton. Because to me, Christian Bale, I like what he did, but at the same time,
you can't.
He made Batman that, and he kind of made Batman a wild man in a way with his voice. And Batman is a calm, cool, calculated.
I want him to be who he is in the portrayal of Bruce Wayne, because I feel that Ben Affleck will be the epitome of who Bruce Wayne is. That cool guy, calm. He's like, oh, I'm a fucking sexy fucking guy. I'm gonna go fuck all these bitches. But he's still like, oh, the company is what's good, important, blah, blah, blah. And then when he becomes Batman, it's like, you have no trace, no idea. Because, like, with Val Kilmer or George Clooney, you, like can't you just tell by the way they're talking that that's who it is?
Yeah, there's no change in the voice.
But, like, because I like how Christian Bale does it. Like, you totally don't get that sense that it's him.
And with Kevin Conroy, you could. It was like.
It's like when he puts the
when you brought it up. Yes, you brought it up yesterday when he got a call from like Wayne Tech. He was like, "Oh hi," and then when he like hung up the phone, he went back to
immediately.
All right, Alfred. Like it's when he talks to Bruce Wayne, it's an upper high, like inviting, friendly voice, and then when it's Batman, it's a dark, brooding, angry voice. And that's what you need. So hopefully Ben Affleck does that. And also he's old, and he's older in Batman vs Superman. So how I don't know, because they're trying to go for more of the Dark Knight Returns. So I just hope they don't make him too old. I hope they make him like in his 40s or something. Yeah. Because I don't want a geezer Batman.
Well, what I want to see is I want them to go maybe like a trilogy of Ben Affleck after Batman vs Superman. So 3 movies, and then when they're ready to like recast,
make another Batman.
I don't want them to recast and like make a whole new franchise. I want them to go with like the because he's already older. I want them to go with Batman Beyond.
That would be awesome.
Batman Beyond, like, sort
of. I mean, you could do that with what Marvel's doing eventually. Because eventually Bucky's going to be Captain America. Because Chris Evans is going to end up, done with his contract and be done with it. So yeah, that would be a cool way to kind of continue with continuity. Because you don't have to remake your continuity all the friggin' time when you want to reintroduce a character. You can do it different ways. So I would love to see a Batman Beyond movie. I would freak out if there was a Batman Beyond movie, and we haven't even talked about Batman Beyond. But that was one of those shows that I really liked because it was different. I like the idea of a new Batman and Bruce Wayne still being there, and he's just like, hey.
But I'm too fucking old to do anything, so hey.
Return of the Joker is an awesome movie. We didn't even bring that up, too.
Dude, Return of the Joker was crazy.
Yeah, it's good. And they took the elements that made the animated series awesome, and they just took it and made it anew.
Like 3/4 of animation is Kevin Conroy.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's been the voice for 20 years.
He's been the voice for so long, and like, there's only like a handful of like animation that isn't him.
Mm-hmm. There's only a few Batman movies anime movies that he's not in, and he's pretty much the voice of every Batman in video games. I mean. He did Injustice, he did the Arkham games. He didn't do Arkham Origins, but I'm okay with because I like the guy that did it. Because people are all pissed and uppity about that. I was like, 1, Mark Hamill retired from the Joker. 2,
it's supposed to be
they're younger versions.
Yeah, he's the younger version.
Yeah, this is their first encounters with each other. So might as well talk about video games. Let's just get right into it because I want to know because we have talked about the games, but we haven't talked in length how we felt about the games. So I just finished Arkham City for the second time, and that ending still hits me in the feels.
Dude, man.
Because it's just the perfect ending. Because it's just the way that Gordon asks him what the hell happened, and he just doesn't say anything, and he walks away. Because even though his arch villain is dead, the guy that's caused him so much suffering and pain, and he's angry about this guy, he's a human being that died. And Batman's not happy about that. That's what I loved about it. It kind of, I don't know. And I loved all of the characters in all of the games. I think they nailed every character.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know Hush is in Arkham City? I didn't know that.
Did you know that?
Because I saw the Identity Thief mission and I didn't start it yet.
Yeah. See, I told you I did all the side missions. I did all the Riddler
Well,
packages.
well, this is what I'm doing my second playthrough. Because the first playthrough, I try to
It's pretty intense.
get through all the story, and then I just started doing the Riddler challenges and getting the hostages, and that sucks. But Arkham City was, to me, one of another. You look at a timeline of the character of Batman, and there's some really important parts. And there's the 1960 TV show. There's
See, like
the first Tim Burton movie.
Each version made it a whole new different story.
They're all important because even the shitty ones make you appreciate the great ones.
Exactly. But I think that they should have, instead of making Forever and Robin to be a continuation of Tim Burton's, I think they should have just completely started over and
And not made it
made them their own series.
And not made it so campy. That was the issue. Because Tim Burton's were too dark for kids. I was like, Batman is a dark character. His parents die when you first meet him.
Yeah, like you can't
Even the kids show is pretty dark.
And like make all this feel good shit about how dark, brooding, and just pissed off at everything that Batman is.
Well, look at the show.
He's destined to be
Even
alone.
Batman the Animated Series is a sad show. It's a somber show. There are some funny moments, but it's just like it's not it's not a happy show. It's not for kids. Batman is not a character for kids. Don't confuse that, because you have a guy that kills people with gas that makes their face grin. That's pretty demented. And you have a guy that hits people with fear toxins and stuff like that. It's just, he's not a character you want to be like, oh yeah, but people still think it's like Wolverine. He is not kid friendly at all. He kills people.
He cusses all the time.
He smokes.
He drinks.
He smokes. And
He is my mother's worst nightmare.
he slices and dices.
He's got facial hair.
But like I was saying, in the timeline of Batman, like the '60s show, the Tim Burton movie, the Schumacher movies,
The Schumacher was basically
Are in the timeline
a flashback of the 60s.
I don't like them, so I throw them out of the Batman timeline. I put in the animated series because that is a very important part of the Batman mythos. And then you keep going, because in some form or another, that spun off into something. There was the New Adventures of Batman and Robin, Batman and Superman Adventures, Justice League Unlimited. It was funneled into those things, and then you have the Arkham games. All of them. They're all important, they're all good, and they're all really stretched on the mythos. I gotta say, of Arkham Origins, Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins has the best story.
Oh, by far. The way that they did that, though, it brings you in, and you're like, oh, and then at the very end, you're like, what? What?
To me, what got me was how Joker fell in love with Batman.
Yeah.
When Batman jumps off and saves him, and they land and everything, he's like, why did you do that? You should have killed me. You had the chance. And he shoots those two guys, and then Batman gets pissed, and he's like, hey, they deserved it. They're bad guys. They should have died like me. And, when he's talking to who becomes Harley Quinn, Harlequin, is that her name? Harlequin?
Harlem Quinzel, I do believe.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, when he's talking to her, and then
Or Harleen.
you get in his head, and you see, he's happy that Batman saved him. Because then he knew. He's like, I got this guy. He's mine forever. He's found his companion.
There was just be so much.
The Bane stuff was awesome.
There would be so much pain and suffering saved if he would just off that one guy.
Yeah.
Just one guy.
That's another thing the Dark Knight got right with the Joker. Was, when he's like, what do you want to kill me? He goes, I don't want to kill you. This is too much fun. And,
Which is it just shows you how messed up he is to enjoy the fact that
getting his
Batman
ass beat
beats
by
the shit out
Batman.
of him.
Well, like in the game and in the movie, whenever Batman just wails on him and punches him, he just laughs. He laughs. And then you know what he's saying? He goes, keep hitting me. Keep hitting me. Because one more, I might die. I might die. Keep doing it. Because he's always trying to prove Batman that he'll kill him. But he won't. Which, I love how that game... And that game really showed the Joker. That's how we got into this... That was a jumping off point to talk about the Joker. And why he is the best Batman villain. And I've said this, in my opinion... The best villain in any medium ever is the Joker. And another thing with Heath Ledger's Joker, what he said at the end of the movie, he goes, you and I are destined to do this forever. And I think Batman would not be... He has those other villains like we said, but Batman would not nearly be as great as a hero if it wasn't for his Joker.
There's so many moments where the Joker is better than Batman. Like, he steals
the show anytime he's in a scene with Batman.
Just crazy.
Well, like The Killing Joke, Alan Moore's The Killing Joke graphic novel. At the end of it, spoiler, it's been out for like almost 30 years, pretty much. So you can shut up. At the end of it, Joker's like, "How are you any better than me? You're a grown man who dresses up like a bat." And then Batman just looks him straight in the face and just starts laughing. And then he embraces Joker. Like, it looks like he's embracing him, but I'm pretty sure he's like knocking him out or something. But to me, that's what I loved about that, because Joker knows who Batman is and says, "You're just as crazy as I am. You're a psychopath. Why else would you dress up as a bat and go out and hurt yourself and beat up on people? Because you're hurt, you're broken, and you're psycho." And I think that's what makes Batman so special and why we did such a long podcast on him, because he's the most relatable.
Yeah, it's because the DC universe...
Hal Jordan might be the most human, but I will say that Batman is the most relatable.
Because Batman, you look at each and every one of these characters, like each and every one of these situations, and you get that feeling in your head that like, oh, this could actually happen. A guy could go out dressed as a bat and save the city. A guy could get so schizophrenic and just fucking fucked up in the head and become the Joker. So start going on a rampage. Some guy could be like, oh, well, I'm going to decide if I can do this. Well, it says I can, I'm going to do it. Like, it's just so realistic in its storytelling that you just find, it like makes you like, oh, I can do that. I can do this.
And I love that the character lived on. I mean, it's 75 years of Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Which is amazing. And I love that the character keeps living on and on, because I can only hope that when I have children, boy or girl, I don't care, because I lost my train of thought. Well, I would say boy, but I want to be open to anything. So, boy or girl.
We're going to hope for a boy, but if it's a girl, won't love her any less.
She'll have to read Batman too, but I really hope my kids get the same connection I get with Batman, because Batman is one of those characters, and you can make fun of me and say, "Oh, you need to grow up because you shouldn't love Batman as much as you adult," which I think is bullshit, because when you get attached to and you cling on to something as a kid, and you believe in something, and then you appreciate more as an adult, that's something special, and that's something you need to hold on for the rest of your life. Batman will always be my favorite superhero, and I will always read Batman stories, and I will always watch Batman movies. Batman is a very, very special place in my heart, and if you think I'm stupid for that, that's your opinion, but at least I'm happy hanging out in the city of Gotham with the Caped Crusader. Final thoughts, Luke. I think I just pretty much said everything you needed to say, but final thoughts on Batman before we close this thing out.
Greatest of all time. Dark Knight.
I even shaved my chest hair in the bat symbol. That's how dedicated I am. But anyway, thank you, Luke, for sitting down and talking with me about Batman. It's a long time coming. We've been wanting to do this forever. If you want to follow me, I am on Twitter at @lumberjake, A capital L capital J lumberjake. I'm also on Facebook, Jacob Anthony Williams. So add me on there. We can be friends. Why not? I need friends. Luke is on Twitter at Luke Moyer. I'm not gonna give you his Facebook because his mom watches that, and his mom.
All the time too, so.
I'm kidding. He changes his name all the time.
I get trolled. I don't like following people who randomly follow me.
Yeah, DM him on Twitter. Be like, hey, I'm not a creepy guy. I just heard your Batman podcast and I liked it. I want to add you, or I want to follow you. Anyway, thanks for listening. This went a lot longer than I thought it would. We are almost at the hour mark. So thank you for listening. You know what? Comment below. Leave.
Subscribe!
Like, comment, subscribe. Do that. But comment below. Tell us your favorite Batman story and why Batman is so special to you. And if not, and you're someone else, a.k.a. Adam, fuck you.
If you think that Peter Parker's better, then fuck you.